Hello, Kevin.
What's up?
What are you playing?
I'm actually going to be doing like a painting thing for like an hour, and then I'll probably get on. I got wrecked in a dungeon a second ago. I was like, oh, I'll just do this real quick.
Thank you.
So that's going to be my plan.
Okay, so an hour you want to play?
Yeah, totally.
All right, I'll be back.
Hello? Okay, looks like I got it working after a little bit.
Yeah, I'm watching the top of your paint palette.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta change some audio over here. And then I'll be right back, and I'll get on.
Hello.
Hi.
What are you guys up to?
Hanging out.
Fun.
Think Kevin's gonna be doing some painting.
Yeah, I saw that pop up on my YouTube. Has something scheduled for a painting live stream.
Yeah, he's presumably going to learn me how to highlight.
Ah, fun. Oh, it looks like he is live.
Okay.
Hello, Kevin.
Oh god, you're loud too. Alright.
Sorry.
Okay, perfect.
So, what do you have you decided on what you're doing?
I have no idea. Well, I'm just gonna start working on the I'm probably just gonna work on highlighting the pirates. Let's go from there.
This is like that's what I want to do. This is the one that I want to do.
It's weird because I don't remember their exact skin tones. Let's see.
I will be painting sailors. And if I finish that in time, I have I forget what they're called. Observers?
What are those?
It's like the mid-tier beholders.
Okay. Move my palette up a little bit.
Oh gosh, your parchment's so clear that lets so much water.
Okay, and I need my flat flesh.
What's your is that flow aid you're using?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the tone. Okay.
Did you buy your own flow aid, or did you make your own?
I bought it. So I need to turn my music down a little bit. Hold on. 1 second. So. It's my mixer. Come here, friend.
I never thought to use the opposite end of the paintbrush to mix. I would just grab a what's it called? A popsicle stick.
Yeah, I'm lazy.
I mix with the tip of the paintbrush and then wash it off.
I can't use the tip of the paintbrush because, as a third arm, I tend to use my my teeth to hold the paintbrush when I need to like open stuff and move things around. Can't have
This
the
is
paint on the end.
still a little darker than I would like.
Oh yeah, get those ASMR tins. by the way, if we are distracting you at all, say the words, then I vanish into the night.
That's fine. I've been ignoring you for the most part.
Perfect.
Okay, so that's the first tone. And then the second. It's my Bugman's.
Do you have autofocus on?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like it was doing weird focusing. There we go.
Yeah, it's gonna keep doing that, I think, because I have to figure out how to turn that off in a second, but yeah.
Just ensuring that it wasn't going to stay out of focus forever. Enjoy your.
And some dwarf flesh. Let's see.
Some dwarf flesh?
That's the name of the pot that I'm using.
That's a name.
Yeah, they're all like they all have like really strange names,
Yeah,
especially the GGW paints.
yeah.
Just want to have it.
For Games Workshop stuff?
No, I usually go Vallejo, but it is dependent upon what colors I need. So I don't really care as long as I get what I want out of it. They all have uses. Okay. This is about the tone I was using before.
That's a benefit of really only doing terrain painting. I can just use Apple Barrel brand paints because I don't need the super fancy high quality stuff.
Yeah.
I know people that swear by
And just off on the side.
generic acrylics.
Just want a little bit of
I mean,
this.
At the end of the day, most generic brands are essentially the same thing as the name brand.
It's like they just have to do more work with watering down and mixing. That like even from somebody like Vallejo or Games Workshop, you don't have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's good for now. Just as a reminder for myself, so trying as little as possible to get as little paint into the ferrule of the brush as you can.
Is that the body?
That's the metal portion that holds the hairs and the glued hairs together. Because acrylic paint will actually dissolve the glue, and if you have a nice brush, it will ruin it.
I wasn't aware of that. That's a good tip.
Okay. So let's see what we got here. This is the brown one. You're gonna hear my like magnification knocking into that camera while I'm getting used to like a good position. Yeah, we'll do with you. I need this a little darker. So I flat brown. Okay, so I'm going to move the palette out of the way now, because I need access to my paper towel. Yeah, this guy. Yep. Okay. It's going to darken this a little bit, which you can't see off screen. I'm just taking a little drop of the brown. Seeing how this works. And how does it look? It's pretty deep. Okay, we'll see what this looks like. So these are already washed with the wash, and I think all I'm doing now is applying the reapplying like the base tone. Leaving the deeper recesses alone.
Okay, so you're just doing the raised elements
Yep.
with the same tone that you used as the base tone.
Yep, roughly.
Okay.
Is that to just get rid of some of the darkening or slight gloss that washes can apply?
Not the gloss, but it's to ensure that what I'm trying to do is it's called layering. So the first, it'll get rid of that darker tone of the wash, and we'll keep the deeper recesses fine. And then after I do that, I'm slowly going to build up brighter layers to bring out the muscle volumes where applicable, and like the top of the head. So I'm starting off with a little bit darker, and I'm going to start working up lighter to places where light would hit the mini. So like the bridge of the nose, cheeks, the chin, cheekbones. Yeah, this is a little darker, but that's fine. We'll make do. We're going to slowly light it up with the flesh tone I laid down next to it. And then I'm going to work on cleaning, making sure the brush is clean about every 3 minutes or so, because you don't want dried paint on there, because it's going to suck for the rest of the mini. Oh, I forgot about the legs. Let's get the legs first. Let's test that on the thumb. Okay.
Yeah, this is a technique I never even really thought of having or needing to do.
And just trying to hit all the places where the light. So this is going to be, yeah, it's really light over here, but that's fine. And fuck if I know how to do the cloth, but we'll work on that in a little bit. And then all I'm going to be doing now is slowly lightening up that skin tone, going in successive smaller and smaller areas. So I'm going to pull a little bit into there. Get rid of the excess on the paper towel. That's a lot brighter than that's a little bit bigger of a jump than I want. So I'm going to go ahead and add more of the flat brown to lower that down. Let's see what that looks like now. Yeah, it's a little lighter. And again, hitting the kind of the tops of the muscles where I see. And then also accidentally hitting the rest of the vest. And realizing I need a better camera. Let's see.
It's doing the job. I can see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go lighter now. Well, let's go hit the beefy parts. Yeah. What am I using? Okay. Let's get that dome. Sharpen that brush tip.
Are you gonna show how to do that on camera?
What? Sharpening?
If the video's a couple seconds behind where you are, I'm interested to know how you sharpen brush tips.
Well, it depends on how lazy I want to be. If I'm really lazy, I'll just pop it in my mouth. But I'll just kind of sharpen it on my hand, like just by just rotating it. Like that's what you'll see on the back of my thumb. That's for me testing for consistency of the paint, if I like it and the color, and also kind of rotating it to sharpen it.
Gotcha.
Okay. And man, I went dark on this dude.
To sharpen my brush a lot,
Yeah.
because I definitely put way too much pressure.
Yep.
I'm a gorilla.
All right. Hitting
I
the.
was wondering if perhaps I was doing it wrong.
I mean, the synthetics will kind of bend at the end if you're using a synthetic brush.
Mine like flay more than bend.
Yeah.
Like a fan.
You might like cleaning it. Usually the like dipping it in water every couple minutes or so really helps with that too. To get all that paint off, and then when I'm drying it off on, like, I'll dry it off on a paper towel as I work, and like you'll see me like rotate the brush slowly on there, and that's usually what gets that going. Gets that really sharp tip. All right.
Is it like a sex thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You know it. All right. This guy is much browner than I intended, but I think this is a whole line of them. It's fine. We can totally lighten that up. So again, working on the bridge of the nose. Get that lighter forehead. Slowly building up. Because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing usually. So we're just gonna pretend a light source is coming always from up top.
It's the default. I need sun, low cloud cover.
Yeah. And sometimes what I'll notice too is that the paint, when it'll look kind of sharp on the mini, and then you'll freak out, but once it dries, it'll become a little more translucent. So a lot of the transitions that you end up making won't look as sharp as you think they look.
Definitely noticed that.
And
If you're not happy with a mini, wait like 3 minutes for it to dry
yep.
before making any rash decision.
And then doing a little bit of this like edge highlighting on his. Yeah, like right here. That's kind of weird. I'm not sure. The rounder surfaces I kind of freak out on. So,
Don't you like work off the ball from that?
say it again?
Like, isn't it just like you choose the direction of your light source and then work as like a ball?
Yeah, kind of. I still like trying to figure out like where the light is. I can kind of guess, but if it's like really big and really flat, I'm still not good at pinpointing exactly. Like I'm like, oh, I understand how to do it. I can't. The technique's not there yet. So I'm just gonna keep like lightening. How do I feel about this? It's really dark on the. It's easier with the Bugmans and the Cadian because I can just keep lightening that with that, but. I mean, Dwarf Flesh, that's the Cadian analog in Vallejo. Thanks to that Paint Finder app, I just kind of find the analog paints in terms of the colors. Yeah. Because I think the thing that I'm realizing, which I need to do more, is if you take a black and white photo with your mini, and it looks like it's monotone, then it is. which means you don't have enough contrast. Like you aren't deepening some colors and brightening others enough so that there's like a variety. It should look like you see like I don't know if you've seen the Zenithal stuff. Like where it's like you can the values of light are super apparent. You know, like the darkest darks. So if you imagine like that's like a 5, right? You should be able to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, not a 5 and then a 1 everywhere. From like darkest to brightest. So I think that's one of the things that I'm like realizing. Like my lizards are a good example of that, where like the shading kind of took a little bit of that, but if you do the same thing, like you notice a lot of the skins like all the same color, and that's not how light works on color. So yeah, okay, kind of dinged them in a couple areas, but that's fine. So I'm trying to get smaller and smaller. As I get brighter and brighter. And go back up. Hit that nose. Hit that chin. Hit those cheekbones. Hit that forehead. Yeah. And then let me clean this up. So what do we say to the gods of dried paint in your brush? Not today. That's fine.
So shouldn't the like flow aid keep the stuff on your paintbrush dry or wet longer?
Yeah. It basically what it does is it breaks the surface tension in the water, so that it doesn't like I don't know if you notice, like if you really thin the paint, it pools a lot easier.
Yes.
So the flow aid, like by itself, I don't think it'll do anything with the drying time unless you're using like a glaze medium.
Because flow aids are detergent based.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can make your own with using like a few drops of either detergent or like jet dry, which is another thing which can help act as a flow aid if you make your own.
Yeah. Only thing I don't like about those is I don't, much like my mixing, the ratios of shit I do tends to differ all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely, if you make your own, it's definitely better to make a master batch, so you have something that is very consistent for a while.
Okay. Oh, I forgot about. How's that look? No better. Forget.
Actually, if anything, I'm not certain, but if I had to guess, I'd maybe guess that flow aid might actually, it might make it dry slightly faster, potentially. Because if you're breaking the surface tension and it like runs out more and it stays thinner, it means there's less like thermal mass and it might actually evaporate faster and like dry out sooner.
Yeah. Could be.
But I'm not a material scientist, so don't quote me on that.
Alright, let me actually, because I forgot to hit the tops of these muscles. Yeah, there we go. That's... Oh, the droplet's gonna fuck me! There we go. I wasn't sure what somebody meant with that, and then I realized, like, so the ferrule of the brush, like, when you're washing it out, it usually captures a drop of water. And if you aren't careful, that will travel down the brush and thin the shit out of your paints. I saw it, and I caught it, but sometimes we lose that war. I'm glad this isn't pointed in my face because I look like an idiot.
You're regal.
Yeah, regal as fuck, right? With these giant bug eyes right now. Yeah.
It's a good belt color.
Blue black, reddish brown if you have that. I like. I love Rhinoxide. That's one of the one GW paints I really adore.
Huh.
I really like army painter, called Cobalt Red.
Mm-hmm.
Red brown.
Yeah, I fucked this dude up. All right.
Oh, that's nice. They made Lost Mines of Phandalin free until May 5th.
Like on Roll20?
Yeah. No, on D&D
No,
Beyond.
Oh, that's lame.
Presumably, just to help people get into D&D in these times of quarantine.
I could have deepened this here, but well, that's fine.
I mean, it is kind of nice because it gives you access to full size and like high quality maps. It's like you can at the very least just grab everything.
Okay.
And you don't have to worry about like what map you're going to use. You can just like click player version, then right click and copy.
No, totally.
So that way you can put it into Roll20 without having to pay for the module, which is kind of nice. Also, I'm sure Roll20 can't do it for free themselves without getting permission from
WotC.
Wizards. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, maybe Wizards will let them.
I think that's like their cut. So that's like the equivalent of Barnes & Noble saying, we're giving these books away for free. That's up to them if they want to give it away for free.
Because they've already bought the allotted units.
Yeah, they've already paid for it. They've already paid for the license.
True, but Roll20 is like a digital medium, so I'm not sure how that would work with whatever deal they set up. I don't know if Roll20 pays Wizards like an annual fee to keep certain adventures on Roll20, or if every time there's a sale, since it's digital, that's when Wizards gets the cut.
I'd put my money on individual licenses.
Yeah, knowing Wizards and how they normally do deals, that's what I think they would probably do as well, but you never know.
Okay, we're getting there. Let's add more of that flat flush.
Did it say fuck flush?
Fat or flat. Never use your painting brush for mixing. Ah, okay. All right. I can push this guy some more. Yeah. All right, I'm really gonna push it because fuck it. Contrast is king. Then I'm gonna get bored of this guy and move on to NMM.
Oh, so much paint. I put way too much paint on. That's a disaster.
I've lost my brush. Where have you gone? Where'd I put you? You shit. There you are.
You're gonna require so much practice for it. It's fine.
That's fine. Happy accidents, right?
I meant to paint his crotch brown.
Okay. Okay. No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stick with the number one.
Oh, never mind. The Roll20 versions of Lost Mines is also free at the moment.
Oh, good. Okay.
Actually, I might actually snag this real quick, just because why not?
I totally budge. That's fine.
Because what with the whole lockdown thing, rather than running a live game for some other grad students, which it was just gonna be me modifying and doing my own take on Phandelver. We might have to just run that online now, because we obviously can't meet up to play it, and if I'm running it online, and I can't use the terrain I've made, I might just run it more vanilla, so it could be useful just to have the module.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, even if I change...
They've done the work.
Yeah, I mean, even if I change literally everything, it'll be useful just to have all the names, locations, general quest outlines before I end up editing all that stuff.
Oh, what do I do here? I think I fudged that, but that's okay. We'll see what that looks like later when it dries.
Either way, it's nice just to have this in my Roll20 account now.
Yeah, no, totally.
Because I've never actually had access to a fully done module before, so I can kind of see if it's something I would want to use in the future, like if I end up running like Salt Marsh or something for my group once I'm done with my current campaign.
Are you using the Salt Marsh module, Kevin? Or
No.
Are you gripping and ripping it?
Somebody has uploaded all of the maps, so I've just been doing it from the book, and it's occasionally adding a map where I see fit.
Okay.
And there's no need to look at anything else right now because they are still in the house. Nakia hears me. I'm not spoiling anything. Not to you, I'm talking about Nakia. Alright, tops and hands. Yeah.
Because my game is actually... They finally entered the third act. They only have 3 big tasks left to do. It really just depends on how much side stuff they do in between. They're kind of at like a similar point to where we are in Strahd. To give you guys a better idea, like we're clearly in the third act. We only have X number of days, so there's only so much we can do. My players essentially are 1 session away from the oh fuck, we only have like 3 days equivalent event to this campaign.
Ah! Ooh. Good. Gotcha.
Which means it might end at like before session 30 or around. No, it's probably going to be like session 30 to 35 is when it'll end. There's still probably like 7 or 8 sessions at least left.
Okay, that looks a little better. Let's make this brighter here. What I was telling you, by the way, regarding the Salt Marsh thing, John. So one of the quests I did in Final Fantasy, so I wasn't expecting this. It was like totally might steal it. So the big thing about that game, just as a little bit of context, is that there's like the human races, like the human, elf, dwarf equivalents, halfling, etc., right? And then on the other side of the coin, you have the beast races, which is kind of what you think, the Sahaugen, lizard men, and other analogs. And the thing with like the beast tribes is like we've had a basically like a that looks awful there, but we'll fix that. A truce with them, and we've been kind of breaking it and infringing on their lands. And what makes them such a big threat, no matter what, is that they, kind of like the was it a Koatoa? They have, each tribe has their own associated god that they can, if they pray enough and they become the thralls of this god, they can summon it like as a defensive measure, but it's really nasty to do so. So people don't like to beast them. They're afraid of them because they could call upon a summon from Final Fantasy, if you're familiar, that comes down and wrecks shit. And that is what makes them unique. So there's a lot of anonymity, if I can say that word, with those tribes. Enmity. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Um,
God.
So the whole game you've kind of had this thing, and this is kind of a common trope, but it was I thought it was really well done because it's a game where like, oh, you see the beastmen, here they come, let's fight them. And in this one mission, you were going and helping people who their ship was attacked by the Sahuagin. And you're attending to the people on shore, and there's a woman, and she's upset because her son appears to be lost at sea in this thing. They can't find him anywhere. And then while you're helping these people, like in the midst of this, you see like 4 Sahuagin warriors and their priest come out of the water. And the music kind of goes up, and you're expecting this huge fight. And then the Sahuagin calls back, and you see them like behind them. They have a rowboat with a kid in it. And so that leads me, I'm like, what the fuck is this mission? Because this is not what I was expecting. It wasn't like a main story thing, and it wasn't like in the style of like the other stuff. So like through that, you end up finding a lot about their culture. And so like one of the things that is like super important to them is that their young are the most important thing in their entire culture. Their spawn, their brood. So like they see that like if there's this kid for example, they saw that and they had to protect him because they knew how special he was to the parents.
That's really cool.
And so the cool thing about that is you find out like the reason for that is because they have one like mother, one matriarch that basically when she makes a brood of eggs, she gives it to one of the males, and he becomes the cluster father. And he raises this group of children as best as he can. So it's a huge deal for to be a cluster father in this tribe. In these tribes. So like I was like, oh, that's really neat. So you have like this like and the way they speak too is kind of cool because they kind of like anything with an sh they can't really say well because they're fish people. So there's like yes, like a lot of like that kind of thing, which I kind of like a lot as like a good characterization versus like the lizard people always kind of like sounding like snakes. Yeah, the nursery, like very Davy Jones. All right, we're pushing this. And there's lots of little bits with that, and the way they talk about some other things. But I was like, yeah, so like because I find that's the thing that's often missing from. It's one of my major gripes with D&D is that there's not a lot of characterization. It becomes on the side of the player to try and bring about the culture of the people that they are playing as, and often they don't succeed because they end up panicking and basically going to like the tropes of that race that they know from like Lord of the Rings and so on and so forth.
Or they're just focused on other things and just kind of forget to try to do it.
Yeah, no, that totally too. But like, I think it's super important. I think that's one of the things that came about on the Sly Flourish thing. So like, I think if we decide to like do something where like let's say we like stream the game or like we make a game that's like focused on streaming, it's going to be like imperative that like interesting characters are made, and I think that's one of the major things with that is like how do you make your character unique and how do you make it something that like the audience would really like to know more about, and you tend to see that like in Critical Role, for example, like with Grog, I think is a kind of a cool example.
Grog
A trope for sure.
It's a trope, but you definitely learn a little bit about the culture of the Goliath people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or just get to see him do hilarious things.
Yeah. I mean, it might be irrespective of his race, but that is definitely something that is interesting, yeah. Impulsivity. Or stupidity.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely leans into the, like, low-end stereotype with it, though, because all the other characters
Yeah.
are always telling him, it's like, no, it's bad, don't do it, and it's like, but only good things have happened. So therefore, it must be a deck of good things.
I see you have watched the highlight of him.
I didn't watch how it ended. I specifically avoided the like last third of the video because I'm like, all right, eventually bad shit's gonna keep happening.
Okay, we've reached Caucasian.
Because I actually downloaded a few of the first episodes of the podcast because I'm actually going to. I think I'm gonna try to force myself to get started because once I start it, I'll hopefully continue with it once I form the habit of just listening to like a few hours a day or something.
Are you sticking with campaign 2?
I downloaded episodes for 1, even though everyone keeps telling me not to, because it's like, if I go into the second one, I'm gonna be clueless to a lot of stuff.
You really are not.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay.
It's completely independent. Yeah.
It is 30 years apart. I am 2 episodes away from having watched all of the like every episode that they have put out. They're on like about to go fight the big bad of campaign 1 right now.
And nothing of value for the second campaign.
There is 2 characters. 2 characters, 1 throwaway drug. Matt has very intentionally tried to keep campaign 1 separate from campaign 2.
Well, maybe I will just say fuck it and just go straight to the second one. I probably should. All of you guys have said it. I don't really want to go against your judgment.
I think campaign 2 is easier to listen to because it is a better story. Campaign 1 has its benefits. I think there's probably like
Terrible audio.
oh boy. Yes.
Okay, well that alone. Maybe I just want to. Nah, screw it. I'll just go with the
Audio
second one.
they eat on stream a lot.
Oh, fuck that. I'm done then. Never mind. I'm deleting those episodes yesterday. That's all you had to say to get me to, like, never even touch the first episode. Or first campaign. I hate, like, listening to people eat.
I'm gonna go grab some chips.
One of my biggest pet peeves.
Alright, I'm not terribly happy about this, but that's a little better. Practice. Yeah.
I mean, it looks pretty good, Kevin.
Yeah, but it's not where I want just yet. I'm gonna start popping a pail. Pale sand. Okay, it's a little bit. Let's see what this does. Actually, I can go pure. Almost.
But
That-
yeah, with all the working from home stuff, I have been grinding through campaign 1, and I am the penultimate episode. I don't quite know what I'm gonna do when that's done.
God knows.
That's what
Ooh, that's bright, but we'll see how that turns out. Okay.
with all the working from home things as well. Because what I still have to do, like, grading stuff, which I'm actually behind on. I have a few, like, probably at least an hour and a half of grading I need to do. Maybe I've also been playing a lot of Minecraft again, so both of those activities lend themselves very well to listening to podcasts, i.e. Crit Roll.
Damn it, I got a brush stroke in there. Alright, that's fine.
Oh, I should really be doing the rope again.
But what now that there's only an hour left until Giant closes, I actually jump off to go do a bit of shopping.
Oh, thank God.
Yes, haha, very funny. Because I need to get a few groceries, and I normally go like 30 minutes before the store closes, so it's empty.
Enjoy your run.
Thank you. I'll actually be biking there, but I will try and
I think-
perhaps rejoin you guys. when
Yeah, I
get back.
think he meant grocery run, but
You know, in hindsight, that's probably what he meant.
That is in fact what I meant.
It's fine.
Well, in either case, I'll perhaps jump back on when I get back.
Alright.
Well, good luck with the painting, though.
Yeah. Okay. It's a little better. That looks like contrast. Okay. We're learning.
Well, they are like way more Caucasian than when last I looked.
Yeah, like I said, slowly brightening bits because they're supposed to be. What I do is I tend to start darker and then I'm going to start adding more and more lighter tones on top. Try and pick out things.
That is the way.
I forgot the legs. Oh lord. But I'm still not sure where to put things, but it's always like that makes sense, like watching something and then like me trying it. I don't have the eye for it just yet. It's me going, yeah, I think this is here. Question mark. I can do like plates. That's why I wanted to.
Why you would ask for all those minis.
Yeah, because I was like, because the thing is, like, what I was watching is, like, yeah, if you can like perfect a technique somewhere easier first, like Flash is kind of hard to do. I like that. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, no, that's contrast. Okay, it's kind of in weird areas, but that's fine. We're learning. But yeah, you start with something easy and then you see how to apply it somewhere else. That's kind of the thing. All right, who's next? Am I bored with that now? So I have to. Yeah, while this is happening, I will work on doing some undershading with the goblins. Well, that sucker dries and I wait for him to.
The disabled goblin.
Yes, it's fine. I can put all their legs in bushes and I'll be fine. I have tons of bases now that I can do shit with. I also picked up the water effects and the water, realistic water.
Nice.
Terrain stuff, so I'm gonna probably try that in bases. Maybe not tonight, but flat brown. Where do you go? Here and here. Let's get that ink. Which does not need flow aid. All right. So he's zenithalled. I'm gonna go ahead and use the ink to pull out the detail. The brightest brights, and then use non-oil to put in the darkest darks, and then paint him. That is the plan. And we do not. Well, no, we're fine with this. How does our brush look? And because I'm changing color, I'm gonna get the brush cleaner out. We'll probably. Shift off that. My music stopped, motherfucker. Yeah, you keep going. Okay. We're gonna get all that brown out of my brush. Change my pot water too. Yeah. And this is also the stuff I let this soap dry on the brush as well, and that gives it a sharp tip at the start. So if it starts like fraying, I find you can use this to shape the brush tip and bring it back to a sharp point for the next session.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll maybe pick up some of that then.
Yeah. Like every art store has it.
Yeah.
Okay, that looks clean. Alright, let me change out this water so I don't brown tint everything as I try to put bright whites on here.
Oh, I totally just used the wrong shade of brown on the.
We'll use these paper towels until I die because they are a rare commodity now. Alright. How goes your...
Times like this that I am glad that I wholesale shop
Right?
for dry goods.
That's what you do. I've been afraid of Costco.
Oh, I haven't been back in a while.
Yeah.
I would doubt that even Costco has any supply right now.
Yeah. Alright, and then... I always forget to
So
do
my
this.
mom shop upstairs is where like all of her prescriptions are. And she said that they've, at least the one by her, have been super good about
Being stocked.
cleanliness and space.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean in terms of like, making sure that everybody is away from one another in some degree.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. I need to take more of this. We remove as much...
Okay. The spinning on the paper towel is 100% the play. Okay.
Yeah. And also, if you're doing the paint stuff too, I find that you don't want to put your paint in a pot and immediately go to the miniature because you'll flood that area with paint. So sharpening. So when you put it on a paper towel to sharpen the tip, it also removes that excess paint and is much more reasonable to apply to the miniature. Instead of like trying to like you get this giant globule and you're like, oh god, where do I put it?
I'm very much a pull paint, as it were.
Say that again?
I pull paint. Like, I put a big glob on the biggest surface area.
Yeah, and then push it around.
It around.
Yeah, that's totally a valid way. It scares the shit out of me because like that's how I lose details on like feet and stuff like that by accident.
It is true. I sometimes end up with it looks like people have webbed hands.
Yeah. Also, somebody was showing. I was watching a thing too, and I kind of want to try. I don't have too much of a problem with this just yet, but I still like for like flesh and things like, the more shiny something looks, the more plasticky it'll end up looking. Is just kind of like an obvious thing, I think, if you think about it. But it's like that's why using a varnish or something and either mixing that into your paint or just applying like a varnish finish, like a matte varnish finish, will actually help leave that alone, so that it looks more matte and it looks more like an actual, like a realistic thing. So I want to try that later. These have huge noses. All right.
What are you trying to say?
These goblins have huge noses, and they have like really thick eyebrows. There we go.
mixing details, mistakes.
Good.
Like that mistake that I made into another mistake. Fine. What I need is
And then
no, I'm doing well for this.
I don't like that. That's too much paint on there. All right. What do you look like? That's good.
So, how far into Final Fantasy are you?
Almost done with the base game.
Wow, nice.
And then the DLC is where I heard it really takes off. So when it becomes more like a main line, I guess they make fun of the busy work that you end up doing, and it's I'm fine with it because I get to like try different abilities, and it gives me enough time before I got domed in a dungeon earlier because I queue as healer, and it was so stressful. Trying to keep the team alive, and it was like a later mission, so I was like, I really need practice with this, so I think that's where that helps, which I'm probably gonna leave in a little bit, because I'm gonna do a dungeon with Matt and maybe others. We'll see.
That's cool.
So I just want to finish underpainting this motherfucker.
Yeah, I will probably finish up this back.
Yeah.
I'll send you a picture of the air quotes finished product. I'm not doing too much fancy with these. I'm not even like putting a wash on them because I want them to seem bright because they're on like the deck of the ship.
Yeah. I still recommend washes because you can reapply the base tone, because it'll pick out all those there are deep shadows even with somebody like in bright sunlight, but I think it's like the level of work you like. I'm learning the difference between like tabletop ready and just like display like.
Definitely very tabletop ready. Like I'm like attempting to do bulk here.
Yeah.
Because I want to have 12 sailors. I'd like more because the way I have it set up is painting their bases based on how much they're being paid.
Yeah. That's pretty funny, actually.
It's because it's a constant question of, wait, is this one like one of the greenhorns that we don't care about if we lose him, or is this one of the experienced guys that we've been with forever?
Gotcha. Oh shit! All right.
So you recommend a wash after the base coat?
Yeah, if there's a lot of detail on them, yeah, that'd be my recommendation because it'll. This is what I'm trying. This is mostly for me to tell myself, but like contrast is like the biggest thing that you want, and whatever pushes it the most. So like even simply like doing a wash and just leaving the deep recesses alone and reapplying that base coat where it got tinted. Will get like a really good effect and still seem like because you'll pick out like all like the areas between parts, because I think that if once you can't see the separation between parts, then you know that your contrast isn't pushed high enough, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like what I'm doing right now. It's just like trying to pick out the things on this goblin before I move on to the next one. Brighten the and separate like stuff, so I'm like, one, I'll know what is what, but also that when I put another paint on here, like I can be like, oh well, this is this muscle versus this muscle versus this muscle, etc., etc.
All right. So then, what color would you recommend for like? I have like fabrics that I want to be like a bright white. What color wash would you recommend for that?
Oh Jesus. Like maybe a
I have like
flesh wash.
I have a strong
Sepia.
a brown.
I think-
a flesh, a shadow, and the other one.
I'll tell you, John, I'm bad at picking out stuff like that. Especially for like the white side. Because my trick is I don't go to white is the brightest thing you can possibly do. So I end up going like with an off cream colored thing, and then hopefully I can add white to that later, or the shade doesn't do something weird. Oh, then you're probably fine. I think take one of those dudes, try Sepia on them, see if you like it. Is the answer, and or like maybe a flesh wash.
Well, yeah, I definitely would do like a flesh wash for the fleshy bits.
Yeah, it might turn out nice on the cream colored cloth too, or like to get it more kind of like reddish in hue.
I would like it to, because I'm working off of like period photography,
Yeah,
and it's all like, and this probably changes when you like are at sea for a while, but like all like photography and like period evidence of it is like crisp blue jackets.
yeah. Oh shit! All right. Yeah,
And like real puffy white.
that makes sense for that. Yeah. Okay. Oh man. Okay, what is that? I don't know what that is. Okay. Is that a belt? That's a belt, I'm assuming. All right. Yeah, I don't know. What time is it? Is it 9:10? All right. I'm gonna do one more of these goblins. I wonder if how far down I can zoom this camera. Let's see.
So did you do that with a spray or a brush?
Spray paint. So 2 coats of spray paint, a dry brush with white, and then an ink follow up.
Gotcha.
Because the ideal I'd have like a airbrush, obviously, to get rid of the spotty bullshit. But it gives me enough of a map. If that makes sense.
Yeah. It does.
Alright. And a lot of time, like, fuck me, the black and white looks a lot better than some of the stuff I usually do, because it's high contrast. That's the word of, like, I'm trying to instill in myself. How do we make this look like it pops? Without it just being black and white. Which I'm bad at. I'm like, I don't know what to pick. That's why a lot of my stuff is like muted colors. I'm like this is normally what I do. All right, I'm gonna.
The fucking garbage. Fine. Everything's fine. That's not counting. I hate everything.
Yeah, me too. This is.
I have no brush.
I need to clean my magnifying bullshits. All right. This is one that got dunked on with the spray paint too. Whoops. I can tell this was primed a long time ago because this is a Krylon. I can tell the Krylon and the Army Painter apart now. It's very frustrating. No, it's just a difference in like paint sticking to it. Because I thin my paint a lot usually. I noticed like the thinner the paint, like I had to like glob it on there and like really force it on. And the Army Painter it's even though it's more glossy, it definitely sticks the paint more. Stupid.
I can confirm that from my experience.
Oh my god, I need. This is. Yeah.
Arbiters what I use. And even their mats are not bad.
Yeah. I'm not brushing on primer, I can tell you that much.
No. Nobody got time for that shit.
Oh my god. Oh, this is awful. Okay. Look at that. Oh, yeah, muscle. Alright. I think that's it for me. If I was really lazy, I would just do this and varnish it and call it a day. Be like, look, you can see stuff, and it looks better than whatchamacallit, just brown, which is the basically the dip thing, but 2 steps extra.
You know? Different levels of effort for different purposes.
Yeah. First, do this dumb shit, then speed. That is the goal. First, we learn to solve the Rubik's Cube, and then we do the speeding. How happy am I? I'm not happy with this. All right. 9:15. All right. As much as I wanna paint one more of these suckers. Yeah, I had a guy leave in a dungeon because I was like, as the healer, I was dying quite a bit. It was a much later level one. Like, it's easier to heal the lower levels. I was like, oh man, it was a new dungeon for me too, so I didn't know how it ticked, but it was rough. I was really struggling.
Just like it was a lot to keep up with.
Yeah, it's just he was pulling really big groups, which you're supposed to do, but I was really surprised about how much damage he was taking from that. And I felt like I couldn't keep up. Like, I was just like doing the piano of like, all right, let's do this, and then there would be some other like the I feel like the later dungeons throw you for a loop more too. They introduce like very strange mechanics. I was like, oh god, what's this? And I was like trying to figure it out at the same time, trying to figure out my character. All right, that's a little better. Cheekbones. Get those cheekies. And that giant schnoz. All right.
I think that's offensive.
Really, we don't care about the beast tribes. There's a little too much ink on here. All right. All right. Just 2 more goblins. I have time for one more. Maybe, yeah. Yeah. It's back muscles. Oh.
Oh boy. Yeah, we're getting real sloppy here in the 11th hour.
That's fine. You see the end goal, right?
Yes, and then I moved it several yards away. Now I have to go back and shoot. Which means I will inevitably get out the black paint again and then go, oh shit, well, okay, well, if I already have this out, I'm gonna touch this up.
Such is the way of things. Alright. Alright, I'm hitting the timer on this really hard. Alright. Oh, I forgot about the ears. Well, I'll go back and do that. That's fine for now. Alright, I think that's going to be it.
Oi.
Let me look at this guy. See how I feel. It's better. It's not quite there yet.
The next.
Yeah, he stands out more. I'm like looking at this guy from different angles to see from a distance to compare to the other one. Black and white photo time. Alright, oh, I need to sharpen this brush back up for tomorrow or whenever. Yeah, I really do need a better camera. That one, 20. Turns out cameras are, pretty high in demand.
Yeah, it's weird. I wonder why.
Yeah. Unknown. Alright. End stream.